So let's get up to date. So right now, in your honest opinion, or
Mm-hmm.
what is the current state of Fort Worth right now? What in your opinion, from what you said, what is the current state? What is the pulse of Fort Worth? What's going on?
First of all, when you talk about Fort Worth is in Texas. Texas is in these yet to be United States, and the bottom line is that we don't have. This is not a democracy. It's what it's called. And we know this too. Scholars know this. It's an Herrenvolk. Herrenvolk. It's a Herrenvolk
Mm,
democracy, and a Herrenvolk democracy is when one group, one ethnic group basically has all of the goods and service access to all of the goods and services. One ethnic group, a racial group, is considered to be better and superior. That's called a Herrenvolk democracy. That's what we live in. So now, having said that, Fort Worth is in Texas. Texas is in the United States. These yet to be United States. And so Fort Worth is no different than any other town in this Herrenvolk democracy. I don't see, I think Fort Worth, racism is prevalent in Fort Worth as it is any place else. There's self-hatred in our community. If you pass by our church, what do we have? Lord, deliver us from what? Racism, from self-hatred. It's right down my board right now outside. And from COVID-19. And the thing is that literally what we have is that in Fort Worth, you have right now we're getting ready for the trial. Why is it that they've had everybody else's trial, but they haven't had the trial for Aaron Dean for murdering our sister Tatiana? You were there, brother. You remember you were there on the steps right next door to her. You and the brothers and sisters and the BEM were right there, standing out there when right next door to where Tatiana lived. And the bottom line is when we had that rally, you remember that.
yep.
And so that in Fort Worth, black folks still get killed by police in Fort Worth, even among the ranks of black and Latinx police. That's disaffection because the Police Officers Association, the POA, is predominantly is run by a white hierarchy. And so, and the POA, the Police Officers Association, has sway here in Fort Worth. So the bottom line is that this is Fort Worth is no different than any place in Mississippi. You know,
Mhm.
Money, Mississippi, a place in Money, Mississippi was where our brother Emmett Till was murdered in Money, Mississippi. Fort Worth is just a larger Money, Mississippi. You know, it could be, you could take Fort Worth and transplant Fort Worth into Louisiana or Florida. It's the same place. You see, we still have the same. We still have people who are right now, we're going to talk about that in a minute. You see what I mean? The most obvious evidence of this ongoing racism that seems to permeate every facet of our society is that what's going on with the school boards.
Yeah,
And
let's jump into that. So the school board. So what is going on with the Fort Worth ISD situation? Like we know in the city, the Fort Worth city and the Fort Worth ISD, and the majority of the students and the parents are either your black people or your Latinx Hispanic group, well, I like the Latinx group of people, but it still seems like the minority of the Caucasian folks are running the show. So what's going on in that front?
you said it right. The bottom line is you have 89% of the student body in Fort Worth ISD is black and brown.
Hmm.
89%. Okay. Now, that 89% and growing. And so you have people from really many of those from the Tanglewood area. As a matter of fact, from Tanglewood and those areas where you have a predominant white populace, they're calling the shots. They are the ones. Listen, right now you go to a school board meeting and you see what's going on all over this country, is that the alt-right, see, they got that nice name for it, but it's just really the next iteration of the KKK. It's called the alt-right. And
Mm.
and with the alt-right being out now, they're out now. You know, the outright those who are white racists, you even have them in Congress who they don't run away from it. They're who they are. And so now racism has gone mainstream. It has always been. You see, that's what the critical race theory says, is that racism is a part of everything we do. That's what CRT says, but it's not taught in the public schools, contrary to the lies that are being told. It's taught in law school and in some facets, some places, in some graduate schools. Because, you know, but the bottom line is that you have these white folk who go downtown, these intolerant whites. You have these so-called conservative whites. And by the way, they're led by the evangelicals, white evangelicals. These are for white folk who have hijacked Christianity. They've hijacked Christianity. Like for instance, First Baptist Dallas. I don't mind calling his name. He knows how I feel about him. Robert Jeffries and others. And so they've literally hijacked Christianity. So what they do is that they promote hate. They don't. You know about Senate Bill 3. About what is going on with that the teachers are limited in what they can say about race.
So what is, explain that? What is Senate Bill 3? I haven't heard of that. What is, and I know some people watching probably haven't either.
Well, what it is that it limits what a teacher can say about equity, diversity, and race. That's the short of it. That's the
have that been passed and signed into law now?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's why we had a meeting last night, because we know that the community has not been focused on this. So then watch this. Not only that, they're taking books out of the public school libraries. This is,
oh wow.
I can't make this stuff up. I got this stuff all everywhere. I cannot make this stuff up. They're taking books. I think they have, let me look here. I think they have a deal where they've taken over, they've taken the Beloved by Toni Morrison. They've taken these books out of the library because they say that they focus on race. And you know what they're doing it for? They said because it leaves their children, here's the phrase they got, white guilted.
What?
That's right. That's what they talk about, white guilted. That's the phrase, white guilted. In other words, the white kids learn about what their ancestors did, and literally what their parents and grandparents, their ancestors did. And so then they have this guilt. That's what they call it, white guilted, that they're saying discussions about race and diversity and equity, that it leaves their children white guilted. So what they want to do, they want to whitewash history. They don't want the school teachers to talk about the Trail of Tears and how indigenous Americans, so-called Indians, were treated in this country. They don't want to tell the truth about, they want to keep talking about remember the Alamo. Well, listen, hell, the Alamo, listen to what this is about. You're talking about remember the Alamo? That the Mexican government at that time, they were concerned about liberating black folk. All you do is check it out. Everything I'm saying can be Googled. And so they tell, and all those people that are revered, David Crockett,
Sam Houston,
Sam Houston, all of those. Listen, those were criminals. All you have to do is listen. All the stuff about check me out, Google it. All they have to do is Google about Christopher Columbus. He never set foot on North American continent. He was down in the Caribbean, and he was a murderer. And so forth. All of this, if the audience would just research, and they will find out Not some. This is not some conspiracy theory. This is not some wacko type. This is just the truth. And the truth, what most of the times it sounds stranger than fiction because we've been taught a certain way, right? And so now you got a school. They go down to the school board, and when they go down to the school board, you have these. And last night, anyone who was at the meeting last night, they were told how these people act. These people, they loud talk when they're not even up there to speak. They're rude. They're insulting. And you got our representatives in the Latinx, the Latina sister, Martinez, I think that's her name. I'm not sure, but the thing is that and Cento just said, "Hey, enough of this." You see, he's no longer on the school board. He left. He quit. He resigned because these people have gone down there and they are attacking, they are assaulting the equity and diversity work that's being done by the school district. And that's literally what we're dealing with. Our children are in trouble. Our children are in trouble, and we're twerking. Our children are in trouble. And guess what? We're learning the latest dance, trying to keep up with whatever Ye and Kim are doing, that craziness. You know, the Kardashians and Kanye West trying to keep up with what they're doing. You understand? And boot camp, marriage boot camp, and all that kind of stuff, all those diversions, and missing what's really going on with our children. Our children are under assault. 72% of those students who are disciplined are African American.